Have you ever wished you could just step inside a textbook and really experience what you're learning? Like, imagine building a virtual bridge while you're learning about engineering, or even practicing surgery in a super realistic 3D simulation if you're training to be a doctor. Well, that future may be a lot closer than we think, especially in India, where EON Reality and India's National Skill Development Corporation, is also known as the NSDC, they're partnering to bring that kind of immersive learning to like a massive scale.
It's a really impressive ambition, the scale of it. They're aiming to reach 1 million learners across India using XR and spatial AI technology.
Yeah, 1 million learners, that's
Ah.
huge. And the press release is calling it a nationwide learning evolution. So I'm curious, could you break down what XR and spatial AI actually mean? For those of us who aren't like total tech wizards.
Sure, so XR stands for extended reality. And it's kind of like an umbrella term that covers like virtual reality, augmented reality, and basically anything in between. It's all about creating these really interactive, immersive digital environments. And then you add spatial AI, which adds a whole other layer. Spatial AI allows computers to understand and interact with like the physical world in a way that's similar to how we do as humans. So imagine putting on a headset and you're not just seeing this 3D simulation. You're actually able to like manipulate objects, walk around, interact with your surroundings like they're actually real. That's the power of combining XR and spatial AI for learning.
Wow, that sounds so engaging. But how does that actually translate into, practical skills development? And what's the NSDC's role in all this?
Well, the NSDC is really important here because their whole mandate is to make sure there's a skilled workforce across India, not just in like the big cities or elite institutions. So their involvement means that this technology could potentially reach rural areas, smaller towns, all corners of the country. Think about what that could mean. A student in a small village would suddenly have access to the same cutting-edge training as someone in Mumbai or Delhi.
That's amazing. And it looks like they're starting with kind of a targeted approach. They're offering 5,000 academic licenses and 750 internship licenses to what they're calling the most committed innovators among educators. It's like they're handpicking the pioneers.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's a smart strategy because whenever you're introducing new technology, especially in education, you really need those enthusiastic champions, the people who are going to embrace it and show everyone how valuable it is. So by focusing on educators who are already really passionate about XR and spatial AI, they can create that ripple effect and
Wow.
inspire others to adopt it more widely.
It's interesting that they're not just handing out the tech and hoping for the best. They're calling it a pull approach, letting educators kind of lead the charge. It makes me think they really believe in that grassroots enthusiasm. EON Reality's chairman Dan Wojcicki even said that this tech can quadruple learning speed and supercharge retention. Those are some pretty bold claims.
Yeah, they are bold. I mean, we'll have to wait and see the evidence. But just think about the potential here. Think about how we learn best. We learn by doing right. We remember things better when we're actively involved, not just passively listening or reading. And XR and spatial AI allow for exactly that kind of active experiential learning. You're not just reading about a concept, you're actually experiencing it. So for example, imagine a nursing student who's able to practice putting an IV in a virtual patient. They can make mistakes and learn from those mistakes in a completely safe environment before they ever even step foot in a real hospital.
That's a great example. And I love that it goes beyond just theoretical knowledge. I read that they plan to use this technology for everything from rural industrial training institutes, those are also called ITIs, to urban skills universities. That's quite a range.
It really is, and it shows how versatile these tools are. One thing that really stood out to me was their mention of text-to-XR. Can you imagine? It's this AI-powered tool that can transform regular textbooks into those interactive 3D environments.
That's like something out of science fiction, a
Huh?
textbook that comes to life. That's amazing. And are they focusing specifically on developing practical skills?
Yeah, they are. Vedmani Tiwari, he's the CEO of NSDC. He talked about equipping learners to adapt to like evolving industry demands, which is so important in today's job market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, let's get real for a second. What are some of the potential drawbacks or challenges to this approach?
Well, one challenge that comes to mind right away is the digital divide. We have to make sure that everyone has access to this technology, no matter where they live or their socioeconomic background, making sure everyone has access to the hardware, the software, and a reliable internet connection, especially in those rural areas. That's going to be absolutely crucial.
Yeah, and it's not just about the infrastructure. There's also the question of teacher training. Educators are going to need support and guidance to effectively integrate this tech into their teaching. I mean, we can't just assume everyone's going to be comfortable using it right off the bat.
Yeah, professional development's going to be key. What about the cost? I mean, rolling this out on a national scale has got to be incredibly expensive.
Oh, for sure. You've got the initial investment in all the hardware and software, and then there are the ongoing costs of maintenance, updates, and support. It's a huge financial undertaking. So finding sustainable funding models is going to be critical for this to succeed in the long run. Okay, so there are definitely some hurdles to overcome, but I'm still really intrigued by the potential here. This feels like it could be a major step forward for education in India. What kind of impact do you think this could have on their economy and their global standing in terms of, innovation?
If it's successful, I think the impact could be huge. Imagine equipping like a large portion of the population with these really relevant in-demand skills. It could boost productivity, attract foreign investment, and create a much more competitive workforce. India could even become like a global hub for XR and spatial AI talent. That's the kind of long-term vision this partnership could help achieve.
That's a really exciting vision. And it's not just about economic growth, right? It's also about social mobility, giving people the tools they need to reach their full potential, regardless of their background.
Exactly. By making quality education more accessible and more engaging, you can break down those traditional barriers and create opportunities for people who may have been excluded from traditional learning.
That's so true. We always hear about technology replacing jobs, but this feels different, like it could actually create new opportunities
Yeah.
and make education more equitable. That's a really refreshing perspective. But are we getting ahead of ourselves? This is still just a pilot program, right?
Right. They're starting with a pilot program to test things out and gather data to see how well this approach actually works. It's super important that they carefully evaluate the results and, make any necessary adjustments before they try to scale it up to 1 million learners. I think that focus on measurable impact is really encouraging. It shows that they're committed to a data-driven approach and not just, throwing technology at a problem and hoping for the best.
And it sounds like they're providing a lot of support along the way. It's not like they're just throwing educators in the deep end. They're offering onboarding, training, analytics. And they're even creating a community creator network.
Right. That kind of comprehensive support structure is so essential. It's all about empowering those educators, not just to use the technology, but to really own it, adapt it to their specific needs, and share their experiences with each other. That's how you build a movement, not just a one-off project.
It really does feel like they're building a community around this. It's like they understand that technology is only part of the equation. You need the human element too, the passion, the collaboration, the shared sense of purpose.
Exactly. That's what makes this initiative so exciting to me. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about the potential it unlocks for human connection, creativity, and innovation.
It's almost like they're creating a blueprint for the future of learning, a future where education is more personalized, more engaging, and more accessible to everyone.
And a future where learning isn't confined to classrooms or textbooks, but can happen anywhere at any time, thanks to the power of this immersive technology.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about this initiative, but let's bring it back to our listeners for a minute. Why should they care about all of this?
That's a great question. I think there are a few key takeaways here for anyone who's interested in the future of learning. Whether you're an educator, a student, a parent, or just someone who's curious about the world around them.
What are some of those takeaways?
Well, first, this initiative really highlights the growing role of immersive technologies, like XR and spatial AI, in shaping the future of education. I mean, these technologies aren't just for gaming or entertainment anymore. They're becoming really powerful tools for learning and skills development. And second, this partnership between EON Reality and the NSDC, it shows that we're moving beyond just talking about the potential of these technologies. We're actually starting to implement them on a large scale. This is a real-world example of how immersive learning can be used to address those pressing challenges, like skills gaps and workforce development.
Yeah, it's like they're setting an example for the rest of the world to follow. Imagine a future where every student, no matter where they are, has access to this kind of engaging, immersive learning experience. But it also makes me wonder about the role of teachers in all of this. What do you think?
That's a good question, and it's something a lot of people are thinking about. I think the important thing to remember is that technology is a tool. It can enhance and support what teachers do, but it can't replace that human element of teaching. The best learning experiences will always involve that combination of technology and human interaction.
So it's not about humans versus robots. It's more like humans and technology working together to create a more effective and engaging learning environment.
Exactly. Teachers will always play such a vital role in guiding students and fostering critical thinking
Hmm.
and providing that personalized support. Technology can free them up from some of those more routine tasks like, delivering lectures or grading assignments, and it allows them to focus more on those higher level aspects of teaching.
It sounds like the role of the teacher might evolve rather than disappear. Maybe they'll become more like facilitators or mentors or even learning coaches.
Yeah, I like that. They'll become curators of experiences, helping students navigate that massive amount of information out there and helping them develop the skills they'll need to thrive in this rapidly changing world.
This has been incredibly fascinating and a little bit daunting, if I'm being honest. It feels like we're standing on the edge of a huge shift in how we think about education.
We are, and it's such an exciting time to be involved in this field. There's a lot of work to be done, but the potential is enormous. If we can harness the power of these technologies in a way that is equitable and accessible and human-centered, then we can really transform education for the better.
That's the key, isn't it? Technology is only as good as the people who are using it. The success of this initiative, and really any initiative like it, ultimately depends on human ingenuity, creativity, and collaboration.
Absolutely. It's about bringing together the best of technology and the best of humanity to create a future where everyone has that opportunity to learn and grow and reach their full potential.
And on that note, that's it for our deep dive into this amazing partnership between EON Reality and the NSDC. We've explored the potential benefits, the challenges, and the implications of this really ambitious initiative. What are your thoughts, listeners? Are you as cautiously optimistic as we are? We want to hear from you. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep questioning the world around you.